Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Radhajanna Ranjana Yasodanandana Radhajanna Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Radhajanna Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira vanacharya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Prabhujakacharya Afsatrasada Shishiman, His Divine Grace, Shilasi Bhaktiranta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anantakoti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Maya Panavidam Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Somaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious, Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, text number 21. Drishta Shrama Karmata Atmano Vai Bhartur Guntur Bhavatash Chanumanye Yathasa Todha Najandi Abhavat Samula Ishto Vyavahara Marga Drishta Shrama Karmata Atmanovai Bhartur Guntur Bhavatas Chanumanye. Yathasatodhan Naya Nadyabhava Samula Isto Vyavahara Margaha Justashrama Karma to Atmanovai Bhaturgantur Bhavatas Chanumanye Yathasatodhana Yanadyabhavat Samula Isto Vyavahara Margaha Justashrama Karma to Atmanovai Bhaturgantur Bhavatas Chanumanye Yathasatodhana Yanadyabhavat Samula Isto Vyavahara Margaha Justashrama Karma to Atmanovai Justa, it is experienced by everyone. Shrama, fatigue. Karamata, from acting in some way. Atmanaha, of the soul. Vai, indeed. Bhartuhu, of one who is carrying the palanquin. Gantuhu, of one who is moving. Bhavataha, of yourself. Cha, and Anumanye, I guess like that. Yata, as much as. Asata, was something that is not an actual fact. Rudha, of water. Anayana adi, of the bringing and other such tasks. Abhava, from the absence. Samulaha, based on evidence. Istaha, respected. Yavahara margaha, phenomenon. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. You have said, I am not fatigued from labor, although the soul is different from the body. There is fatigue because of bodily labor, and it appears to be the fatigue of the soul. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly a labor of the soul. This is my conjecture. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual. But although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things. That is visible and experienced. As such, even though material activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. Purport. This is a discussion on impersonal Mayavad philosophy and the practical philosophy of Vaishnavas. The Mayavad philosophy explains this phenomenal world to be false, but Vaishnava philosophers do not agree. They know that the phenomenal world is a temporary manifestation, but it is not false. A dream that we see at night is certainly false, but a horrible dream certainly affects the person seeing it. The soul's fatigue is not factual, but as long as one is immersed in the illusory bodily conception, one is affected by such false dreams. When dreaming, it is not possible to avoid the actual facts, and the conditioned soul is forced to suffer due to his dream. A water pot is made of earth and is temporary. Actually, there is no water pot. There is simply earth. However, as long as the water pot can contain water, we can use it in that way. It cannot be said to be absolutely false. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshram Malitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Kotavatalam Pangum Lang Hayate Grim Yat Kipatadaham Bande Siguram Dinadaranam Vanchikapatibhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. King Rahugana, he understood his mistake. He begged for forgiveness. He praised Jadbharat, and now he's inquiring. And this is actually the symptom of someone who has some intelligence. That they find someone that has knowledge, then you inquire. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire to the absolute truth. Sai Krishna, he says, Tadvati Panipatina Paripasnena Sevya. Upadakshantite Gyanam Gyanina Tatasra. That one must approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto him because he's seen the truth. So King Rahugana could see that this Jadbharat, he was very elevated. So he's an intelligent king, and therefore he's inquiring. He's going to make some very nice questions. This here is a little bit like a challenge that you said like this, but actually, just like Arjuna, even also, he was kind of like challenged. Well, this is Krishna. This war is going to, so many women are going to be, husbandless, and it's going to create unwanted. It's just going to be. So he was also kind of challenging Krishna. But we'll see in the verses to come that he makes very nice questions, and Jadbharat's going to answer very nicely also. So he's inquiring into the absolute truth. Unfortunately, in this age, people inquire about sense gratification. How to get more sense gratification. How to get more money. With money, you get more sense gratification. So this is the big inquiry. And even there was, in the days of yore, back in the olden days, there was was it Chanakya Rishi? Chanakya Muni? What was his name? No. He was, huh? He was the person who said, whatever you do, you get Charvak Muni. Charvak Muni. He said, get ghee. Beg, borrow, steal, but get ghee. Because ghee was, you get nice puris and nice, tasty sabji. So that's what he considered sense gratification, ghee. Of course, now it's like unlimited ways for sense gratification, but that was considered sense gratification. You got ghee, you're doing all right. You could enjoy the tongue. So he said, beg for it. If you can't get it from begging, then steal it. But there's bad karma. Nah, don't worry about karma. You die, that's it. He was a real atheist. There's no karma. There's just enjoy. So this is the religion of the age, is sense gratification. But we also are interested in sense gratification, but only in relation to Krishna. We also have nice prasadam, sometimes. And we dance. People like to dance, so we dance also. Nice prasadam. We do activities. Like in the discotheque, they're dancing. But it's all frustration. The soul is crying, as Radhanath Swami says. They're out there, they're dancing in the discotheque, trying to attract the opposite sex, but the soul is crying. But here, we're dancing, and the soul is also dancing. The soul is very happy to be dancing for Krishna. So this is the position of a devotee. Actually, for some reason, I thought that the verse today is the next verse. So I studied for the next verse. So I'm just going to go on to the next verse, if that's okay. My dear sir, you have said that the relationship between the king and the subject, or between the master and the servant, are not eternal. But although such relationships are temporary, when a person takes the position of a king, his duty is to rule the citizens and punish those who are disobedient to the laws. By punishing them, he teaches the citizens to obey the laws of the state. Again, you have said that punishing a person who is deaf and dumb... Actually... I had already, I went past that one. Which one is now? This is 21? 22. Sorry, we're on 22. King Rahugana continued, my dear sir, you have said that designations like bodily fitness and thinness are not characteristics of the soul. That is incorrect, because designations like pain and pleasure are certainly felt by the soul. You may put a pot of milk and rice within the fire, and the milk and rice are automatically heated one after another. Similarly, due to bodily pains and pleasures, the senses, mind, and soul are affected. The soul cannot be completely detached from this conditioning. The argument put forward by Maharaj Rahugana is correct from the practical point of view, but it arises from an attachment to the bodily conception. It can be said that a person sitting in his car is certainly different from his car. But if there is damage to the car, the owner of the car, being overly attached to the car, feels pain. Actually, the damage done to the car has nothing to do with the car's proprietor. But because the proprietor has identified himself with the interest of the car, he feels pleasure and pain connected with it. This conditional state can be avoided if attachment is withdrawn from the car. Then the proprietor will not feel pleasure or pain if the car is damaged or whatever. Similarly, the soul has nothing to do with the body and the senses. But due to ignorance, he identifies himself with the body and he feels pleasure and pain due to bodily pleasure and pain. Imagine that someone has bought a car, brand new BMW, beautiful car. He hasn't got it insured yet. He's got it parked in front of his house, and he's in his house, and he hears a big, big crash, just a big crash, and he's like, "My God, it's not insured." Just completely devastated. But then he goes to his front yard and he sees, it was a neighbor's car. So because of the attachment to his car, immediately he was disturbed. He was lamenting, thinking, "Oh, my car, thousands of dollars wasted." But then when he sees it's someone else's car, what a relief. Because of the attachment. So this body is also like a car, it's like a vehicle, and we're attached to it. And because we're attached to it, we experience pleasure and pain and happiness and distress, heat and cold, all these things. But actually we're the soul within. Sometimes when I'm distributing books, they ask me, "So, what have you gotten out of this?" So well, I've gotten somewhat of an understanding that this body it's a vehicle, it's a vessel for the soul. I'm the person within, and that's a big step. You don't hear that anywhere. Yeah, although we hear about the soul, but not very much. Just like I was speaking to some Indians that were Christians. And I said, I've read the Bible, and I've read the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita has so much more information. And the lady asked, "So what more do you get from the Bhagavad Gita that you don't get in the Bible?" So much information about God and about the soul, about the absolute truth. There's very little information in the Bible about the absolute truth, about spiritual life. She said, all right. She took a Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, this is the situation, that we're getting so much information from Krishna through the Srimad Bhagavatam, through the Bhagavad Gita. And now we're going to hear how King Rahugana, Maharaj Rahugana, is going to get some very valuable information from Jad Bharat. There's another instance of another devotee a great devotee, who also appeared like he didn't know much, Sanatana Goswami. He was a great scholar, knew so many languages. But when he was with Lord Chaitanya, he said, "They think that I'm a great scholar. I know so much, but Kayami," he said, "Kayami. I don't know who I am. Who am I?" So he was playing like he didn't know, but of course he's a great devotee. So he said, "Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatata Sakti, Beta Beta Prakash." That your position is that you're the eternal servant of Krishna. Your Swarup is that you're the eternal servant of Krishna. So this is the reality of all of us, that we're the eternal servants of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya spoke to him for 2 months. Such mercy. For 2 months, Lord Chaitanya spoke to Sanatana Goswami, explaining to him the absolute truth. Maya Mugdha Jivari Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan. He says the living entity cannot arise their Krishna consciousness on their own. Therefore Krishna comes and he gives us the Vedic literatures. So he comes and he gives this knowledge to us, and we distribute it. We distribute it. So we're part of of Lord Chaitanya's mission. I was distributing books a few days ago, and this lady, I guess she had some philanthropic activities she was doing. And she said, if anybody can help somebody and they don't, then they're idiots. I thought, wow, that's pretty heavy. But so many, I was thinking that we have so many devotees that have this knowledge, but we don't give it out. It's so important that we give this knowledge out. Yeah. And this is, and therefore the acharyas, they emphasize it so much. Like Vaiseshika Prabhu has this Live to Give campaign for, I guess, giving out the Srimad Bhagavatam sets. So yeah, we should live to give. We have this very, very, very valuable knowledge, so we should want to give it out enthusiastically. Pray to Krishna for this utsaha, enthusiasm to give it out. And Krishna, he'll reciprocate. He'll give us the enthusiasm. It's like Vaiseshika Prabhu, he quite often he sets goals. It's like they have a goal. Well, how much is it? 2.2 million Bhagavad Gitas, is that it? 2.2 million Bhagavad Gitas by the end of the year. He's contacting all the other countries, so he sets a goal. It's like our Bhakti Dimitri here. He set a goal, do 1,000 books. I think you're almost there, right? Hopefully the rain doesn't interfere. I think today is okay for book distribution. So, yeah, set a goal for Krishna, to please Krishna. And anybody that can walk and talk can go out and give this knowledge to others. It doesn't take much. Yeah. We all have some information. We have some knowledge of the teachings that have been given to us. So we should give it out. Another verse that Lord Chaitanya said to Sanatana Goswami, Krishna Suya Sama Maya Haya Andakara Yahan Krishna Tahanai Mayara Adhikara. That wherever there is Krishna, there is light. Krishna Surya. So Krishna is compared to the sun, and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is the light of Krishna consciousness, there is no darkness of ignorance. So there's a lot of darkness in this world, in this Kali Yuga. So by going out and distributing books, we're shedding light in Kali Yuga. And the book distributors, the torch bearers, were carrying the torches of light, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, trying to give some light to this darkness. And by going out and distributing books, we also become enlightened. We get purified. So Krishna is the most pure, the most enlightened. So by giving this knowledge out, we please Krishna, and we help so many living entities. It's like I met one person a few days ago, Carlos, lives in Fresno. He was so enthusiastic to get Prabhupada's books. So we're in touch. Another person, Nick, he's going to come in a couple of days for the Thursday night program. He somehow he learned about Hare Krishna. He's chanting around a day. So maybe he'll come and participate in Lord Chaitanya's movement. So yeah, this is what we should desire is to help the other living entities. It's good news. The knowledge that we have is very good news. You know, people are understanding who they are. There's so much bad news. You go on the news, all bad news. But we're distributing all good news. Of course, they may not think it's so good, you know, and we distribute books that tell them you're doing everything wrong. Do this. Don't do that. Do this. They don't like the rules. Sometimes they don't like the rules. But actually, it's for their good. This is medicine. Just like when a doctor treats a patient, the doctor treats the patient, he says, okay, now you can take this and don't take this. You know, you got to take some, you know. So everybody's diseased in this material with a false ego and so much contamination. So Krishna gives direction. Do this, don't do that. If you do this, you don't do that, then you're going to become healthy. Yeah. Follow the four regular principles. Chant Hare Krishna. So this is the remedy for the disease, chanting Hare Krishna. And breaking these four regular principles, this continues the disease. One continues to be bound in this material world. So some of them may not like it, but this is the medicine. Just like children, you try to give a child medicine. You know, it's like a mother is very kind to the child, you know. But when she's got to give medicine, the child's not into it. So she's got to, you know, although she's very kind and loving, sometimes you got to force it in there. You got to force the medicine in there. You tell the child, here, take this medicine. He's going to throw it in the trash. He's not going to take the medicine. Sometimes it's bitter. Quite often it's bitter medicine. So, yeah, we have to give out this medicine. And some people are appreciating and getting cured. So I thought I'd say a few book distribution stories. I asked one devotee when I was in Berlin, how did you join? I quite often ask this. It's always interesting how people join. He said, well, I was visiting my grandmother, and I was looking through the bookshelf, and I saw this Bhagavad Gita. And I thought, well, what's this here? Looks a little interesting. So he took it down. He was reading it for a few hours, and he went to his grandmother and said, where'd you get this book? This is an amazing book. She looked at it and says, I've never seen it before in my life. I don't know how it got there. It's amazing how books appear. You know, she never saw it before. So, yeah, books are waiting for people to read. You have to get them out there. And mystically, it's like they have that saying that on every grain of rice, there's someone's name. In India, they have that saying. On every grain of rice, there's someone's name. How do they say it in Hindi? You know, there it is. It's very famous. I'm surprised you don't know. On every grain of rice, there's someone's name. What to speak of Prabhupada's books? On every book we distribute. There it is again. On every book that we distribute, there's someone's name. Have no doubt. Even sometimes they end up in the trash, and they still someone. I'll tell you an amazing story. There's one person. He had gotten a book, and it's Bhagavad Gita, and he was moving. So he was getting rid of things, minimizing. He was getting rid of things. So one of the things that he got rid of was the Bhagavad Gita. He hadn't read it. I'll probably never read it. It's been sitting here for years. I'll probably never read it. So he went to the used bookstore and sold it. Got a couple bucks, and used bookstore. So then he moved. He went to some other city, a couple 100 miles away. And about a year later, he's in his apartment in this city that he had moved to. And he's just looking out the window. And he sees someone throwing things in the trash. And it looks like some of the things might have been good. So he went down there, thought maybe there's something good that he threw away. So he went down there, he's looking through the trash, and he sees the Bhagavad Gita. He said, wasn't that something? Here's the Bhagavad Gita. So he said, maybe I'll read it sometime. He picks it out of the trash and brings it up to his apartment, opens it up, and opens up the cover. His name is there. It's the same book. Someone had bought it at the used bookstore and moved down to the same city and figured, I'll never read this, and threw it away. And then this person came back. And you can imagine how shocked he was. So he read it that time. So his name was on that book. And Radhanath Swami tells of a story also. This person, he was actually, Radhanath Swami, he used to do a lot of college preaching in America here. So he would hitchhike. Back in the 70s, all the devotees, we didn't have cars. We didn't have very many, so a lot of devotees would hitchhike. It was a very common way of transportation. So he was hitchhiking. And he got picked up by this person. And he asked this person, so what do you like to do? Radhanath Swami asked him. So he said, I like to meditate. I said, oh, really? What kind of meditation do you do? He said, I chant this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. He said, really? Well, where'd you learn about that? He said, well, I was at a store. Have I told this one yet here? Have you heard this one yet? It's amazing. He said, I was at a store, and I bought this, they sometimes sell these quarter of a watermelon. So I bought this quarter of a watermelon. I'm eating it outside. It's a really good watermelon. And it slipped out of my hands into the trash. Now, generally, I don't do this, but it was a real good watermelon. So I reached down there to get that watermelon, and I found this book, Bhagavad Gita. And I like to read, and I was thinking, why would anybody throw away such a nice book? So I reached down again and got that watermelon. And then I took home and read that. I read it 2 times. It's one of the most amazing books I ever read. So then Radhanath Swami said, that's one of my favorite books too. And I also meditate, and I chant the same mantra you chant, Hare Krishna. He said, really? He said, yeah, I'm a devotee of Krishna. He said, really? Why? I always wanted to meet a devotee. This is amazing that we're meeting like this. So the man said, well, where are you going? He said, I'm going to the temple. I live at a temple. He said, there's temples around here? Yeah, that's where I'm going. And the man said, well, can I go too? And Radhanath Swami said, well, yeah, you're driving. Let's go. So they went to the temple. He just loved everything. And he said, well, can I give a donation to you? I said, well, yeah, if you want. Gave $5,000. And he happened to be a welder. So they were just building the Palace of Gold at that time. So he helped build the Palace of Gold. He had $20,000 worth of welding equipment. So it was like, he got initiated by Prabhupada. Yeah. I think it was by Prabhupada, anyway. But yeah, somebody threw it away in the trash. But this person's name was on it and did so much service. Mystical. Book distribution is very mystical. So this lady went up to a devotee, and she said, "Do you have Krishna book?" And he said, "Yeah, I have Krishna book, volume 1." She said, No. I need volume 2. I have volume 1, and I've been reading it to my son, bedtime stories, and he won't listen to anything else. So I've read this book so many times. I'm looking for volume 2. He's just addicted. The kid just won't. He just has to hear Krishna book every night. I was showing a book to a professor. He's a professor of world history in the airport, Los Angeles airport. So as I'm showing it to him, he's just loving it. This is just wonderful. You know, I'm a teacher of world history, and this book is so nice that when he was on his way to Europe or something, he said, "I'm going to teach this in my world history class." So of course he took it. He's very happy to. Bhagavad Gita is so popular, actually. Another time I was distributing, and again a professor took the Bhagavad Gita. He kissed it. I was like, wow. I never seen anybody have so much appreciation. You know, of course we don't kiss the books, but he just had so much appreciation for it. And he said that he teaches religion. So, no, actually, this happened at a university. That's right. This happened at a university. He got the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm very appreciative of it. And when he went to his class, he told all the students, you know, there's somebody that's distributing this, because they were studying Bhagavad Gita at that time, in his class. So he said that there's somebody that's distributing this book, Bhagavad Gita, on campus, and he's given it at a very reasonable price. So if you want to get one, so many students for 2 days, so many students were coming and getting the Bhagavad Gita. So he was indirectly a book distributor. I was distributing books in Brisbane, Australia, and while I was distributing a book to somebody, this person came up and he was waiting, and then he had to go. But he said, "Excuse me, do you know where I can get this Bhagavad Gita?" I said, "Well, yeah, just wait a second. I'll help you out." And then that person, he saw the enthusiasm of this person. That inspired the person I was speaking to take a Bhagavad Gita and give a donation. So I said, "Well, this is your lucky day. I'm distributing these." He said, "Well, that's amazing, because I've been looking for this for years." So, and what's really amazing is just 2 days later, I'm standing there in Brisbane again with my Bhagavad Gita, and a person comes up and says, "I noticed you have the Bhagavad Gita. Do you know where I can get one of those?" It's never happened before, but it happened 2 times in Brisbane. You know, one day, you know, just 2 days stretched from each other. So I said, "Well, your lucky day. I'm distributing these here today." So we got a Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Put your microphone.
Very well. This is the Shivaram Swami's famous story about the lady who got, and the grandmother became a devotee. And I just have it first appeared in a Vyasa Puja offering, which I edited.
Yeah, that's where I got it.
Yeah, did you read that already? Did you tell that story?
No, we told that. Yeah, not long ago.
Okay,
we told that story. So, another one, there was one doctor in Miami, Patita Pavana Prabhu, you know, nice devotee. So he has a doctor's office there, and he called in one patient, and the patient said, "You know, you should become a little less professional, you know, because you see, I'm reading this book, and you called me in, but you see someone that's reading one of your books here, you should call somebody else." He wanted to keep reading the Bhagavad Gita. So then Patita Pavana said, "Well, you can just keep it. That's for you." So he would give them away, a little book distribution. Here's another one for you. I was distributing books at a campus, and I was talking to this one person, just, favorable, Josh. And this lady came to the table showing some interest, but she didn't have any money. So Josh said, "Don't worry about it, I'll pay for it." So she said, "No, I can't do that. I can't take your money." So I said to her, "No. See this person, Josh? He's your unknown friend. He's a very good friend of yours. Now he wants to do a favor for you." So she took it and very happy. And then I was distributing at the campus again, and the girl came by and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm a student of linguistics, and I've read the Bhagavad Gita." And I said, "Oh, in the original text?" She said, "Yeah, in the original Hebrew." I said, "Okay." You liked it? So there's a few stories. Any question or comment? Yes, Bhakti Dimitri.
Maybe I can ask a question. So in the first text, it was talking about dreaming, and I've met a person one time distributing books, and this lady, she was asking me about how the dreams can be very disturbing, and so how they related to your spiritual life, how dreams are related to your spiritual life.
How dreams are related to spiritual life? Well, some dreams are, and some aren't. Some are pretty scary. Some of you might have had an experience of nightmare. Even though we're practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes you wake up and it's like, what's you wake up and you're happy. That's a dream. Good thing that was a dream. But sometimes there's spiritual dreams where Prabhupada instructs someone, or there's one instance where a devotee had a dream and he said, "Prabhupada, I had a dream that you were telling me to take acid." And Prabhupada said, "That wasn't me, that was Maya." But there's many devotees have had nice dreams about Prabhupada, about Krishna. There was one lady she said she had so many dreams of Prabhupada, nice dreams of Prabhupada. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes they're spiritual, sometimes they're not. It's just yeah.
So famously, Prabhupada had repeated dreams of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur telling him to take sannyas.
He was horrified.
And he was horrified. But finally he did. And also the dreams are used as an analogy for material life. You've heard this before. There's one verse in the Bhagavatam that appears 5 times and talks about dreams. Arte vidimano pi sangsutena navartate dhyayado vishayanasya swapna yatartato yata. That this material suffering, samsara, is actually unreal because it's temporary. It's not really, but it doesn't cease for those who are meditating on the objects of the senses, dhyayado vishayan, like from the Gita. Just as the sufferings in the nightmare don't cease until you wake up. So to understand, this is like a big dream we're in.
Yeah, Madhavendra Puri, he had 2 dreams. He had that dream. Well, first Krishna came to him to bring him milk, and then he left, and he was waiting for him to come back, and then he came to him in a dream that I'm in this forest here. There was the Muslims came and the Pujari left me here. Please take me out. And then he lamented that he didn't recognize. Very interesting. He didn't recognize that was Krishna that brought the milk to him. It's amazing. So then they brought the deity out and he established a big temple, beautiful temple. And then he had another dream that I'm hot. I was in the forest for so long. Please go get some sandalwood paste. So immediately he went to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavan to Puri. And what is that, like, I don't know, 1,000 miles or something. That's a long ways. So he went, and he walking, there's no flights or buses or just walking. And then he got the sandalwood paste, and then he has another dream. You can just put it on Gopinath. So he was Gopal there in Vrindavan, Gopal. But in Gopinath temple, he had another dream. So just put it on Gopinath. It'll be the same. So he didn't have to, do the whole, yeah. So he didn't have to do the whole trek back to Vrindavan. So, yeah, great devotees have. Now these are really transcendental dreams. I mean, we can pray to Krishna that someday we could have such transcendental dreams. Yes.
Just a quick, on the topic of dreams, one devotee that I know, it's a book distribution dream, so I thought you'd like it. But one devotee I heard had this dream where he was distributing books. Well, actually, a little bit of context. He was distributing books some place, and before he was going to go out, he was feeling a little tired that day. So before he was going out, he wanted to take like a 15-minute nap, something like that, a little power nap. So he did. He lied down for 15 minutes, and this is the dream that he had in that 15 minutes. So what it was is that he was distributing books in an airport, and it was really tough. Nobody was taking books, and then he looks over, and he sees Prabhupada. He sees Prabhupada sit, in the airport there, and he's sitting on a vyasasana, and then so this devotee, Prabhupada calls him over, and he goes over to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, he's pointing, he's crying. I think Prabhupada was crying, and then he's pointing. He said, "Please, go help them, go preach to them." He's like pointing to one person, and he goes over there, and he's showing him the book, and he's saying, I have this, he's showing him the book, and the guy's into it, and he goes, and my spiritual teacher's here, and I'd like you to meet him, please come, and the guy just looks at him. He looks at the book, and then he looks at him, and he says, "You just don't get it, do you?" And then he looks over, and Prabhupada's gone, and he looks over, and the guy's gone, and he wakes up. So he said his realization from that dream is that Prabhupada's in his books, and that he's
Parameshwar. That was Parameshwar.
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta. We were having a festival in Atlanta, and they have this Panihati festival. So one devotee said, after we had the morning program and everything, he said, "Vijaya, last night we were all sleeping in the room there, and while we were all sleeping, you lifted your hand up and said, 'Excuse me, sir.' And then you put your hand down and went back to sleep." Well, that's cool. One more, if you have something to say.
It was just a comment on the dream factor,
on the dream factor.
Yeah, because I did a lot of dream analysis before I came to Krishna consciousness. I was really into that whole field, and through my studies that I found within myself was that the dream is connected to the subconscious, where the subconscious is, you could say, is like, it's responsible for all of our kind of metaphysics and our connection to a lot of the spiritual life. And you actually go into this reality where you could, time and space it's not really set bound by anything like the material world, but it goes into another, I guess,
dimension.
Yeah, another dimension, exactly. But yeah, through this, I did a lot of writing. I would write down my dreams, and you could see that the dreams were actually just playing out memories from days before, and it's interpreting its own way. So even like bad dreams, they have a certain effect on the consciousness, because it's trying to tell you a message. And even in the Bible, it says that. I don't know exactly the verse or something, but I do remember someone telling me that dreams are like a message from God, as that's the way they interpret it. And so I would always, some dreams, they would be very far out, but they have, like you said, Javed was saying, there's an analogy, there's a There's a metaphor for each individual item, each individual person that you meet, the space, the environment, everything. Everything in the dream has a certain analogy. And the more you can remember it, the better you can detail the dream. But essentially, it was just, I found that it would help me along my life with the troubles I had before coming to Krishna consciousness. Obviously, the Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are really great ways to help alleviate, the suffering for the soul. But the dreams were just like almost like a decrypted message coming from a higher source in my view. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.